And welcome to Copenhagen, the capital and biggest city in Denmark, for the Archery World Cup final of 2009. This time we have the colorful waterfront of Nyhavn, the Danish name for the Old Harbor, hosting the ultimate phase of the competition, the Grand Final. The 4 top-ranked archers in each discipline during the qualifying stages are getting ready to fight it out for the gold medal right now. We've got royalty for this World Cup Grand Final. That's Danish Crown Prince His Majesty Frederik, watching as Berenger Schue and Yoon Oh-ki get ready to battle for yet another time this year. They have already had 2 head-to-head matches in 2009 in Shanghai and in Antalya. And Yoon had beaten Schue twice by a pretty small margin, so Berenger is probably looking for revenge this time around. At this stage, right now, after 9 arrows, Berenger finds herself with a substantial deficit. And she needs nothing but 10s from here on out if she has any chance to take on Yoon, or Yoon needs to make some kind of mistake. Not something that is really apt to happen based on Yoon's performance all year. Berenger just keeps the door open for her opponent from Korea. Yoon Oh-ki with almost a 10. Here's the final shots. Berenger with a 106. And so Yoon prepares to close the door on this match, and there it is, Yoon Oh-ki taking the win. All she needed was a 4, got herself an 8-9 liner, good enough once again for yet another time this year, a 3rd win for Yoon Oh-ki over Berenger Schue of France. Well, our women's gold medal recurve match is pretty much deja vu all over again. It's a remake of the Shanghai World Cup bronze medal final that took place in August. We have, once again, Kwak Yi-ji of Korea versus this woman, Zhao Ling of China. Now, Zhao Ling has been one of the most promising young shooters to come out of China's crash program to get ready for the Beijing Olympic Games last year. She's ranked 9th in the world right now. She did not shoot the first stage, but she won the second stage right out of the gate, didn't do so well in the third stage, and was a finalist in the 4th stage. This young woman, Kwak Yi-ji of Korea, is one of the most promising young shooters that Korea has turned out. She's just turned 17 years of age, and she is ranked 5th in the world right now. She didn't shoot the first 2 stages of the World Cup this year, but she took a solid 1st for the 3rd stage and 3rd in the 4th stage to rank 3rd overall to come into the semifinals, and then she handily defeated her opponent in the semifinals. Now here she is on the finals stage, and her first arrow right out of the box, 10 points. Zhao Ling is going to have to put the pressure on right from the beginning and at least keep up with Kwak if she's going to have a chance. And she's already given away at 1 point. And Kwak, another 10. Now you can see the conditions in the harbor. They're actually pretty good for high scores. Overcast skies, and we've got almost no wind, and Kwak Yi-ji is on a roll. There's a 29 to start the match. And Zhao Ling's already got at least a 1-point deficit, even if she shoots a 10 here, which she does not. She shoots an 8, giving up a couple points more. And this is not where you want to be if you're taking on a Korean shooter in a gold medal final. The only way to beat them is to rack up points and get ahead of them, shake them up, and try to keep them shook up while you're trying to keep your pressure on. That's not what Zhao's doing, unfortunately, for her at this stage of the match. And yet another arrow out of the 10 ring, while Kwak has been finding the 10 ring so far from the very beginning. There's another one. Not bad shooting, mind you. Zhao is shooting well, but Kwak is really on a tear. Yet another arrow in the 9 ring, no 10s yet out of Miss Zhao. And yet another 10 for Miss Kwak. So we can see who's dominating this one at the halfway mark. It's big numbers being racked up by Kwak Yi-ji. Zhao Lin shooting well, but not at the standard that her opponent has set. Now here we are, second half of this gold medal final. Zhao being behind shoots first and finally finds the 10 ring. Kwak giving up a point. Still enjoying a 4-point margin here, mind you, and that is not what she needed. Zhao did not need to be anywhere other than the gold, and shooting a 7 in this situation, well, that may very well call the deal. All right, creditable shooting, not as tight as the first end from Ms. Quack, but maybe she's not feeling as motivated right now, being as far ahead as she is. Meanwhile, Ms. Zhao is going to have to try to pump herself up and try to shoot nothing but 10s and hope that maybe Quack makes a mistake somewhere along the line, something that Ms. Quack has only done very, very occasionally. After a perfect start, Ms. Quack is really in good position right now. Now, Zhao's final end, 10 points to start. Quack shooting relaxed, maybe a little too relaxed. It's her first arrow out of the gold. There's just a 9 right there, just barely out of the 10 ring. Quack coming back with a 10. Looking at a potential 5-point win here for Quack. All she needs to shoot now is a 10, and she's absolutely got this thing dominated. 6 will win. 10 it is, and Quack Yi Ji taking her first gold in a grand final of the Archery World Cup, but I almost guarantee you it won't be her last. On to the bronze medal match for the gentlemen's recurve category. It is Romain Giroul versus Jayanta Talekdar, and this time Giroul tries to find himself defending a bronze medal from last year. These two guys have met just once before at the 2008 World Cup event that took place in Santo Domingo, and that time Giroul had won the match 108 to 107. Here we are after the first half, and we're looking at a close match. Talekdar with a 3-point deficit right now, and he shoots a 10 right when he needs to. Romain Giroul's form sometimes is a bit, how shall I put it? Well, unstable, but he has really stabilized quite a bit in the last few months, and much smoother and perhaps more confident than he had been earlier in the year when we saw some scary stuff out of him. Right now, he is cruising on to what's looking pretty good, but his opponent, Jayanta Talekdar, is finding the center. Jayanta's last end really helped even things up. It's only a point separation now with 3 arrows to go, so it is anyone's bronze medal. Talekdar's going to need nearly a perfect response to try to seal the deal here. There's a 10. Giroul with a solid shot, 10 points. Talekdar with another arrow that looks to be a 10. We'll see what happens on official scoring. Giroul with a 9. 1-point difference in favor of Giroul unofficially on the board, and that did not help Mr. Talekdar. He really needed a 10 there. 2 seconds left on the clock. Romain Giroul seals the deal. There's a 10, and Romain defends his bronze medal, taking yet another bronze in a World Cup Grand Final. Romain Giroul of France victorious with 113 points. Jayanta Talekdar left out in the cold. Our gold medal match is going to be against 2 great shooters. This is the champion of the 2004 Olympic Games, Marco Galeazzo. He's had a pretty good year so far this year at stage 1 and stage 2, and had unbelievably bad luck with equipment which went missing on him, and he had to borrow bows for stages 3 and 4. In fact, stage 3, he was also quite ill, so the fact that he was able to get into the finals here is, as much as anything else, owing to his tenacity. Meanwhile, Simon Terry, the bronze medalist of the Barcelona 1992 Olympic Games, now ranked 3rd in the world, has been consistently, well, up and down, as it were. 3rd, then 34th, then 1st, then 57th. But he ended up 2nd overall with 43 points for qualification, and now he finds himself in the gold medal final as we get underway. Ooh, not a good start though. 7 points. A smooth shot from Marco Galeazzo, putting him in the 10 ring. Again, the conditions in the harbor about as good as you're going to find, considering the fact that there are thousands of people lining both sides of the canal looking down upon the shooters. There's a lot of pressure involved here. Both shooters are perhaps trying to find their form and trying to get themselves in a position where they can be comfortable with the unusual conditions of shooting over open water. But certainly Marco Galeazzo showing tighter grouping, even though it's not dead center. Much tighter grouping from Marco, whereas a bit of a scatter across the target from Simon Terry on the first 3 shots. Now Simon has a good opportunity here to regroup and try to put some pressure on Marco. But that's not how you do it. 7 is not going to cut the mustard here, folks. And Marco's still staying in the gold. Now Simon finds his way closer to the 10 ring. And Marco just staying solid, a little loose but solid. And finally 10 from Simon Terry. So he's got 50 points on the board. Potential 5-point lead on this shot from Marco Galeazzo. And he indeed ends up with a 5-point lead on that shot. So Marco Galeazzo in a comfortable position at the halfway mark as we go into the 3rd end right now. Simon Terry shooting first as he trails 55-50. Solid shot, 10 points. Nice shot, in fact. And you'll notice that the timing of the shot with Simon, if he shoots a quick one, it's generally very good. If he holds a little longer, well, sometimes it's not as good. So Marco's going to have to keep up the pressure here if he's going to be able to maintain his situation over Simon, and that's not the way to do it. You don't give up 3 points to Simon Terry and get away with it all that easily. That was a 7 on that shot from Marco Galeazzo, while Simon is looking to absolutely capitalize on that situation. Now he's closing to what could be as little as 1 point. 9 points will continue the lead, and he gets a 10 on that one. So at this point, with this 3rd end complete, 26 from Marco Galeazzo there, 29 from Simon Terry, but Marco's still in the lead by 2 points going into the final 3 arrows. And it is going to absolutely take nothing but 10s from here on if Simon Terry wants that gold medal. And the $20,000 check from FITA that goes with it, by the way. And an 8 is not an auspicious beginning to this last end. While Marco is maintaining the pressure and just racked up a 3-point lead total. 2 arrows to go right now. There's a 10 from Simon Terry, and boy, did he need it. Now you need a mistake from Marco if anything's going to change this outcome with 1 arrow to go, and you didn't see a mistake, did you? Last arrow from Simon, not good enough, 8 points. 7 points is going to win $20,000 for Marco Galeazzo from FITA, another $11,000 from sponsor money. There is a $31,000 payday for 12 arrows. Not badly done at all, as Marco Galeazzo takes his biggest win since the 2004 Olympic Games.
Yes, I won this competition and I'm very happy. And I hope I will be able to win it again next year.
Well, it's a women's bronze medal compound division category match, and we are now moving into the next to last end. It's Ivana Budin of Croatia versus Nikki Hunt of Great Britain. Now, these two have met earlier in the year at the World Cup second stage in Porridge, and at that point, Nikki Hunt was the winner, 113 to 111. And having been defeated in front of her home crowd, there's no doubt in my mind Ivana Budin probably wanted to take her bit of revenge here. As we go into the final end, it is an advantage for Ivana Budin. It's a 1-point differential. Now, Nikki didn't need an 8 if she really wanted to put any pressure on Ivana, while Ivana finds the absolute center of the 10 ring. And it is now a bigger lead, 3 points with 2 arrows to go. Nikki Hunt continuing to be less than stellar on that shot. It's a 10 for Ivana Budin. Final arrow for Nikki Hunt, and it's a 10. Ivana is going to have to make a big mistake, though, if it's going to be anything good for Nikki. And, of course, Ivana puts it right in the middle of the 10 ring again. Ivana Budin, rock solid in the last end, scoring a perfect 30 and clinching the bronze medal, 115 to 111 points. Sweet victory for Ivana Budin and a bit of revenge for her defeat in front of her home crowd at the hands of Nikki Hunt earlier in the year. And on to the finals. For the gold medal, this is going to be a firecracker of a match. It's Luz Marie Guedes of Venezuela versus the favorite of the home crowd, which is going to be Camila Somod, of course. Now, Luz Marie is no slouch. She was 7th at the first stage. She won the 3rd stage and has consistently placed well in the last couple of years of World Cup action. In fact, she took one of the first victories in the World Cup ever, having taken the mixed team win in Dover. But Camilla Somod unquestionably is going to be the favorite of this crowd, which is an entirely Danish crowd. And Camilla is back in great form after her 2 European individual titles in 2006. She was the winner of Shanghai this year. She is absolutely on a roll coming into this situation. She was 4th at the World Championships, which took place just a couple of weeks ago. And Somod had beaten Ivana Budin 111 to 109 earlier this year for 3rd place in Antalya. The Croatian shooter had done well, but Camilla just devastated her. So let's see what happens now. After 6 arrows, we've got a situation where Camilla's 7 points shy of a perfect score. She's got 53 on the board right now. Luz Marie is not a spectacular shooter from the standpoint of she always shoots lots and lots and lots of 10s. She is a solid shooter. She doesn't make very many big mistakes. Sometimes that's all it takes. You can see she's only got 1 arrow out of the gold. And right now, Luz Marie has a 1-point lead.
Lead by 2 to 9. 1-point lead. 10.
That's what Camilla needs if she's going to keep the pressure up on Luz Marie. And Luz Marie's going to need a 10 to keep the lead.
9.
And that is a 9, so it's a tied score going into the final 3 arrows. This is what you want, by the way, if you're a sport commentator. It's probably not what you want if you're either Camilla or Luz Marie. You'd really rather have some kind of an advantage going into these last 3 arrows. Now we're going to go back to the original shooting order now, since it is a tied score. Here we go. Camilla Somod in front of her very large, very enthusiastic home crowd, and in fact, right in front of her country's leader, Crown Prince Frederick.
9.
Still tied, 2 arrows to go. And you can tell that Camilla knew that wasn't good. I don't know what she said in her native language there, but you can tell she knew that that was a costly arrow.
9.
And Luz Marie taking the advantage. It's a 1-point lead. Here are the final arrows, and that isn't what Camilla needed. All she needs now is an 8 to win, and an 8 does it. It is Luz Marie Guedes, Venezuela, taking victory over the home favorite, Camilla Somod, and that settles it with a perfect shot and a $31,000 payday for the winner of this match, Luz Marie Guedes of Venezuela. Silver medal for Camilla Somod, but certainly not as satisfying as it could have been if she'd won this match.
That was so much emotions. I was so happy. I have been training very hard for the World Championships and then for this World Cup final. So to win here is fabulous. All my work finally pays off.
Our gentlemen's bronze medal match features 2 archers who've already met 3 times at the World Cup in 2006, 2007, and 2008, Patricio Hoffer and Jorge Jimenez. Now, in the standings right now, Jorge Jimenez has been really in good shape. Patricio Hoffer won the first time and last time these guys met. Jorge won the second time, and each time the match was very close. As we're at the halfway mark right now, it is, again, fairly close.
That's a 10.
So there is the opportunity for Patricio with Jorge shooting just out of the 10 ring in a 1-point separation.
10 for Jorge.
Jorge nice and smooth.
10, 10, 10.
Really solid shooting from Patricio, taking it to the 9th arrow.
10.
Now, there is something you're not seeing on camera, and that is that behind the scenes, Patricio has developed, I'm going to say it, he's developed a flinch, and he has found himself at full draw a couple of times, almost jumping on the trigger, which is an absolute disaster for a compound shooter. If it happens, he can keep it under control, then he can still shoot 10s, but if it gets away from him, it can be disastrous on the target. Those of us who've been watching him shoot in the last couple of events have been quite concerned about what we're seeing. Jorge has also suffered from this slight malady, but as you can see, with 2 arrows to go, both of these guys are shooting rock solid now. No problems evident.
10.
Solid shooting from Patricio.
9.
Not as solid from Jorge. That opens the door. 8 points is going to win this, and Patricio Hoffer with 10, 10, 10, taking the bronze medal victory And so that takes the record to 3-1 between Jorge and Patricio. Sweet victory for Patricio Hofer, the winner of the bronze medal match. Every time we have an Archery World Cup Grand Final, we have something special to talk about for perhaps years afterward. For example, in 2006, we saw Rio Wild shoot a perfect 120 points, and that was very memorable. What we didn't know was going into this semifinal match between Braden Galantine and Jorge Jimenez, we would see history made once again. Now, Braden and Jorge had met for gold at the World Cup final in 2007 in Dubai. Jorge prevailed then in a very tight match. Braden previously beat the Salvadoran shooter in Varese, where he found himself with one arrow away from the match world record. Now, as we go into this match, Braden Galantine has been clean, has been shooting nothing but 10s so far. Jorge Jimenez has been shooting well, but when Braden Galantine drops a perfect 60 on your 55, there isn't much you can do. Meanwhile, Braden shooting the 10 ring again and again and again. At about this point, we started paying attention. How many X's has Braden got? It's not visible on camera, but there is a very finely etched X ring in the very center of the target that is exclusively used at World Cup events for the recording of records. And Braden, so far, has nearly all of his arrows in that X ring. It's going to take 8 of those to take the world record, and guess what? There it is, a new world record, one that is going to stand for a very long time. Braden Galantine with a perfect score, 120, 8x. And now it's time for the men's gold medal final. It's going to be Sergio Pani versus Braden Galantine. Sergio Pani, the Sultan of Smooth, didn't do so well at the very first stage this year, but he came back and won the second stage in Porridge with a first-place finish of 25 points. Wasn't as good again in stage 3, and then came back in first place for stage 4 in Shanghai. So Sergio is probably on a roll right now, while Braden Galantine, as you know, just finished shooting a new world record, an absolutely huge 128x score, and is ranked second in the world. And everyone expects that Braden Galantine may very well run away with this one. Let's see if that's the case as we're about to get underway. It's the gold medal final. After the first 10, Sergio Pani with a 29 of a possible 30. And Braden Galantine started with a 29 as well. And there's no doubt in my mind Braden was less than thrilled with having shot a 9, something that a lot of shooters would be quite happy with. But here we are, tied, third arrow in. 10 points from Sergio Pani. There's another 10 from Braden. Just out of the 10 ring. Another 10, Braden showing the same form and skill that took him to the new world record earlier in the day. 9. And another opportunity now for Braden to rack up an even bigger advantage. He's looking for another 10 here. But you could see that he was not really happy with where his dot was at the moment of release. He shot a 29. He actually looked a bit disappointed with that 29, but it's enough to give him the lead now. 57-58, Sergio Pani's 10.99, giving him a 1-point deficit. Now, in the past, we've seen Sergio make a pretty good run at coming back anytime he's down. And it looks like Sergio may very well still be on that sort of program, because at this time he's got himself a situation where he could very well increase the lead. Now, that was a critical arrow right there. What you don't know necessarily at this stage is that a 10 or is that a 9? If it's a 9, then you're looking at a tied score. And there is another liner from Braden, another possibly critical point. While a solid 10 from Sergio Pani, giving him 87 on the board. We need a 10 from Braden here, and that ties it up.
I think I did.
With 3 arrows to go, we're tied up at 87 points each.
Just put that freaking first arrow in the same hole as the one.
Sometimes you hear some interesting things when the microphone is on, and each of these archers has a microphone on them. One thing you notice about Sergio Pagni, though, he's very calm, very smooth, and doesn't say much under stress. Oh, you could tell Braden knew where that was going the moment he shot it, and he was not happy.
9.
Final arrows.
10. Final arrows.
1 point advantage for Sergio Pagni. And that is a potential for an opportunity here if Braden can just tie it, and he can't. It is a 9, and Sergio Pagni taking a 1-point win. Bitter disappointment for Braden Galantine.
So I'm very happy to have win here in this fabulous place. Absolutely amazing with all the city around the archers. Is I think the best place where I can win something.
And so we conclude yet another incredibly successful World Cup Grand Final in warm and wonderful Copenhagen. A great victory for Sergio Pagni, Luz Marie Guedes, Kwok Yi-ji, and Marco Galeazzo, with thousands of happy fans and at least one happy Crown Prince. In 2010, we're looking forward to visiting Croatia, Turkey, the United States, and China before our Grand Final of Edinburgh, Scotland. So goodbye for now, and we'll see you in the springtime. Thanks for joining us.